EA, one of the most hated video game companies in the world, is finally turning things around. If you clicked on this video, you probably already know about EA's reputation. I could go on and on about why they're a bad company, but in the last few months, we've really been seeing some big changes from them, even with their most recent upcoming games. Most of us remember the infamous tweet, "They're a 10 but they only like playing single player games." This did not go well with anybody, and right after they responded with this. What makes this worse is that they even had some developers responding to this tweet, including the former producer of Visceral Games, one of the studios that EA shut down. He said, "This is the company that shut down my studio and laid off 108 developers because we were only making single player games," and their only response to this was roast well deserved. Nice job, EA. It's not surprising to anyone that EA doesn't really like single player games. There's only so much you can monetize with single player games, whereas multiplayer games, you can pretty much try to charge a player for everything. Supposedly, EA's completely changed the way they're developing their games though. And of course this is EA, so we kind of have to take their word with a grain of salt, but their recent catalog has actually been pretty good, and so far, they followed through with everything they said they would do. I won't get into everything that EA said they would do, but basically they want to greenlight more titles that developers want to make and that players actually want to play. Honestly, this should have been common sense from the jump. I mean, why wouldn't you want to make games that people are asking for? And if developers don't care about what they're developing, then obviously the product just isn't going to turn out good. With any other developer, this would just be normal news, but since we're talking about EA, we're going to consider this an accomplishment for them. Just a few years ago, they had walked away from franchises like Dead Space and Mass Effect, so even though one's a remaster and one's a remake, it's still a start. Even the fact that we're even getting a new Skate game is kind of a big deal. They also plan on showing games much earlier than they normally would, so that they can get player feedback earlier, which we've seen them do at Skate. Now, whether they take the players' feedback or not is still up in the air, but we can hope. Just recently, EA announced that they won't have the license for FIFA games anymore. They'll still be making soccer games just under the names EA Sports FC, but FIFA also put out a statement saying that they'll be making their own official soccer game. I don't play sports games. I talked about it in the past. I don't think sports games should be annual. It makes developers lazy. You end up paying money for the same exact thing you've paid for the previous year, just with the roster update. But this is probably the best thing that could have happened to anyone who plays these type of games. EA finally has some competition. It's hard for games like NBA Live to survive when games like 2K have been around for so long, and 2K is the official sports game of the NBA, but EA lost the FIFA name. The FIFA president even spoke out about the new arrangement, saying that the game with the FIFA name is the only authentic football game. Regardless, people are going to gravitate more towards the game that has the FIFA name, so this isn't really a decision with EA wanting to make their soccer games better, but they don't really have a choice if they want to keep their customers. Either that, or I predict that they're going to stop making soccer games, but again, all we really can do is wait and see. They claim that there were some features that they wanted to add, but they couldn't because of license restrictions, so we'll see if that's actually true too. I don't want to push a narrative though that EA is suddenly a good company, because that's definitely not true. But if they keep going the route they're going now, giving the fans what they want and not focusing so much on multiplayer games, and a few years from now we might actually be saying that EA is a good company, which is honestly kind of crazy to say out loud. But if it happens, we might start seeing a change with other AAA companies, because we all know that Ubisoft and Konami could actually use the change.